continent of Africa has produced countless footballers that have pioneered and dazzled in the beautiful game. With AFCON upon us, debate has heated up over the rankings of the best African players of all time. Names like Eto'o, Drogba, Yaya Toure, Jay Okocha, Weah, and many more are often brought up in the debate. However, there is one man that I feel is often slept on in this conversation. His name is Riyad Mahrez. A player that not only wowed you most times you saw him, but he had the career to match. But just how good was the magic Algerian? Today, I'm going to relive the career and make the case as to why Riyad Mahrez should be rated as one of the best African players of all time. Yes, people, welcome back to another video on the Big Steph channel. Thank you for all your support on all of these videos we've been dropping. Continue to hit the like button, continue to hit the subscribe button. We're so close to our 500 mark, but I really think we can hit 1,000 by February. If we can hit 1,000 subscribers by February, then you guys will make this such a good start to the new year. Continue to support the channel, like, subscribe, and share, and leave down below in the comments what your favorite Riyad Mahrez moment is. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Born in Sarcelles, France, Mahrez started his career off by playing for the local club, before earning a trial at Scottish club St Mirren. In an interview speaking on the trial, Mahrez stated after performing well, scoring 7 times in only 4 games, there were still many doubts due to his physique over if he was ready for first team football, especially in Scotland. Ex-head of youth David Longwell did an interview where he spoke on the incident. He explained how Mahrez was very talented, but he only had 3 months left of youth eligibility and he wanted to get his feet settled at a professional club. Ultimately, this hesitancy on the club's part led to Mahrez getting in touch with his agent to get him out of Scotland as soon as possible, using a bike from a stranger to help him get to the station where he got on a train and ultimately a flight back home. Not all was bad. Mahrez in an interview with Unscripted stated playing in Scotland allowed him to play with the quote-unquote British spirit and allowed him to improve his movement and ability to dodge tackles and physical defenders. On his return, he joined 4th Division side Quimper at 18 years old. Mahrez managed to impress in limited minutes in the 4th Division, earning offers from many of France's top clubs to join their youth setup. However, he refused and decided to join 2nd Division side Le Havre in 2010. After initially playing in the youth side, the 2011-12 season saw Mahrez make his debut against Angers in a 2-1 victory. This season was about growing and acclimatizing to football at a much higher level and pushing to break into the first team. He only played 442 minutes, managing only a single assist. However, he made the mark he needed to make. The 2012-2013 season saw Mahrez significantly increase his minutes to now 2,525 minutes, managing a solid 5 goals and 6 assists. He showcased brilliant technique on set pieces, being the team's designated taker, while his dribbling and overall sublime skill opened the eyes of many around France. The first half of the 2013-14 season saw Mahrez be the shining light in a very inconsistent Le Havre side, scoring 2 goals and providing 5 assists in only 17 games. While playing for Le Havre, Steve Walsh of Leicester City was originally there visiting Ryan Mendes, but he instead was impressed by the young Riyad Mahrez. At first, Mahrez had his doubts, admitting he didn't know anything about Leicester, thinking it were a quote-unquote rugby club, as well as others being unsure if the style of play would suit him due to his slim build. Eventually, Mahrez signed to Leicester in January of 2014 for just about €500,000 on a 3.5-year deal, which is probably the steal of the decade. Mahrez arrived to a Leicester City side that was on the hunt for promotion, off the back of heartbreak in the previous championship playoff semis that everyone remembers for that Troy Deeney last-minute winner. A 1-0 win against Reading on Boxing Day was enough to give the Foxes the lead to push for automatic promotion, where the signing of Riyad Mahrez was good business to solidify their hopes. Mahrez wasn't a passenger in this side. He managed 3 goals and 5 assists in only 1,161 minutes of football, with his first goal being an equaliser in the local derby against Nottingham Forest, and the second an absolute superb curling effort as his second goal, this one against Blackpool, as the Foxes won their record 7th championship title, clinching promotion to the Premier League for the first time in 10 years. His vision and ability to pick a pass left most fans in awe, but it was really his first touch and dribbling that caught the eyes of so many. Watching over some of these clips, you can see he was a confident player. He loved taking on defenders and beating them. Life in the Premier League for Mahrez and Leicester in the 2014-15 season started, well, let's just say tough. 3 wins by the turn of the year with 19 goals scored and 33 conceded as the Foxes sat rooted to the foot of the Premier League table. Even Mahrez struggled, managing only 2 goals and 3 assists before going to AFCON, where he helped Algeria all the way to the quarterfinals, where they lost to eventual champions Ivory Coast. His return and good performances saw Leicester win 7 of the last 9 games as Nigel Pearson's men managed to stay up comfortably. In his first Premier League campaign, Mahrez managed 4 goals and 3 assists from 30 matches, but stats don't tell the full story. Mahrez scored crucial goals against Hull City and Southampton, the latter a brace to help secure safety for the club, earning him a new deal with the Foxes until the summer of 2019. The summer of 2015 for Leicester was to be one of new ambition. After Nigel Pearson fell out with the higher-ups at the club, they appointed the experience of former Chelsea manager Claudio Ranieri. With the signing of N'Golo Kante from French side Caen, Mahrez and Leicester began to embark on a special journey. Mahrez started in spectacular form for the Foxes, with 5 goals and 2 assists in his first 6 Premier League games, scoring against West Ham and Tottenham to secure a win and draw respectively. He continued his impressive displays in the first half of the season, going on a stretch from October to December of 2015, scoring 7 goals and providing 4 assists, helping Leicester push into the Premier League title conversations. Just last season's team that seemed destined to go down is now suddenly throwing punches with the giants of the English game. A hat-trick against Swansea, just one of the magical Algerians' stand-up performances in this run. The next was a magical performance against the champions from the season prior, Chelsea. He assisted Vardy with a lovely curl pass, leaving 4 Chelsea players frozen, then tucking away probably one of the most famous goals of that season. He controlled a high looping cross from Albrighton before a majestic ball control set it up perfectly on his left foot. He dropped his shoulder once, before Cruyff turning and then checking back to his left foot and curling the finish into the top corner. He continuously stepped up in big moments for the Foxes, with another one of my favourite performances coming against Man City, where he scored another brilliant goal, evading a tackle from Otamendi before spinning Di Michelis and then slapping the finish near post, leaving Joe Hart rooted to the spot. Mahrez ended the season with 17 goals and 10 assists in the Premier League, according to Transfermarkt, and 18 goals in all comps, as Leicester miraculously won the 2015-2016 Premier League title by 10 points, making him the first Algerian to win the Premier League medal. In one of the craziest sports stories in modern history, Mahrez and Leicester went from relegation candidates to doing a great escape to being Premier League champions all within the space of a year. Mahrez this season was one of 4 Leicester players to make the PFA Team of the Season, with Riyad being named the PFA's Players Player of the Year, the first African player to win the award. He also won Fans Player of the Year, BBC and CFA African Footballer of the Year, as well as being Leicester's Player of the Season. His impact on football during this time was significant. Firstly, his value rose from £4.5 million up to over £30 million, making him one of the top 50 most valuable players in Europe. He helped Leicester significantly grow their fan base on an international scale, as well as many people replicating his haircut. The 2015-16 season was peak Riyad Mahrez. Mahrez signed a new deal. Many teams were in for his signature, however, he decided to stay and help Leicester in the Champions League, the first time in the club's history. The next 2 seasons for Leicester was filled with ups and downs for Mahrez, performing well in the Champions League with 4 goals and 2 assists in only 9 games, helping Leicester go all the way to the quarterfinals, scoring 23 goals and providing 20 assists. However, Mahrez since the summer of 2017 had been wanting to move away from the Foxes, having bids from many teams around Europe. Even after a move the Man City fell through in January of 2018, it was reported that the Algerian winger stopped attending training, which caused him to come under much scrutiny. However, in the summer of that year, he would get his wish. On July 10th, 2018, Riyad Mahrez broke the record for the most expensive African footballer of all time, as well as breaking the transfer record of Manchester City with a staggering £60 million move, the 5th most expensive transfer that season. He wasn't joining just any team. he was joining Pep's Man City, fresh off the back of winning the Premier League title with 100 points, the first ever English club to do so. First season for Mahrez at City was impressive, despite being very much in and out of the squad with Pep's rotation. He managed 12 goals and 12 assists in 2,551 minutes. That's a goal contribution every 106 minutes. Even though City swept all the domestic trophies off the board, winning the League, FA Cup, League Cup and Community Shield, Mahrez's most impressive feat this season was at the African Cup of Nations. Drawn in the group against Kenya, Tanzania and Senegal, Algeria, led by Mahrez as a captain, blitzed the group and won every single game, scoring 6 goals and conceding none. A 3-0 win against Guinea in the round of 16, where Mahrez scored a brilliant curling effort, saw them through to the quarters where they faced Ivory Coast. After a tense game, the Algerians managed to beat them 4-3 on penalties, going on to face Nigeria. Mahrez took the semi-final by the scruff of the neck, driving at his defender and putting in a great cross to cause an own goal, before he scored an absolute bullet of a free kick in stoppage time to win the game for his nation. The final against Senegal was a game decided by a deflecting shot, won Algeria their second ever AFCON title, as Riyad Mahrez had the privilege to captain his nation to glory for the first time since 1990. That win made him the player in Premier League history to win the Premier League and AFCON title at the time, cementing his name into African football history. The next 2 seasons saw Mahrez continue his impressive displays, scoring 27 goals, finishing top 5 in Man City's squad for scoring in both seasons, as well as providing 25 assists over the same time span, with Kevin De Bruyne the only player with more assists for Man City during this time period. However, 2021-2022 season is where Mahrez really became a modern-day legend for me. He started the season playing little minutes, only playing a full 93 times in the league up until December, despite scoring 5 goals in 6 UCL matches, as well as 2 more goals in the league. After stamping a claim to start more with a star performance in a 7-0 thrashing of Bielsa's Leeds, providing a goal and an assist, he became one of the players City looked to in a time of need, scoring in 6 straight matches in all competitions during the tough winter period, scoring a total of 9 goals from December up until February, adding another 3 assists. He ended the season with 24 goals and 9 assists in 2,931 minutes, averaging a goal contribution every 88 minutes, finishing in the top 15 for the most goal contributions amongst Europe's top 5 leagues and competitions with 33, managing the second least amount of minutes out of the top 15 to do a feat. His average of goal contribution every 88 minutes ranked him 7th out of the same pool of the top 15. His displays helped Man City win their 2nd straight league title and took them to the FA Cup and Champions League semi-final, where they lost the latter crushingly to eventual champions Real Madrid. The 2022-2023 season saw Mahrez and City get their so long desired UEFA Champions League title, as well as the Premier League and FA Cup, becoming the first English team to win the treble since that Man United team of 1999. He again had 15 goals and 13 assists, proving once again to be pivotal and clinical Pep's Man City. Some of his impressive performances being the second half display that saw Pep City battle back from 2-0 down at halftime to win 4-2 at the Etihad, with Mahrez scoring a brace and adding an assist, also going on a stretch of 5 assists in 4 consecutive games against Fulham, West Ham, Leeds and Everton, helping to clinch a 3rd straight Premier League title for Mahrez and City, and his overall 5th in his career, surpassing Didier Drogba as the African player with the most Premier League titles ever. Yes, ever. Even though he isn't known for his goal scoring, Mahrez ranks 6th all-time for the most goals scored by an African player in the Premier League, joining an elite list of players to have won the UEFA Champions League, Premier League and African Cup of Nations. Mahrez is now playing his football in Saudi Arabia, putting up 9 goals and 7 assists in only 20 games at the time of writing. But the legacy of Riyad Mahrez is already set in stone. One of the most successful African players to ever play the game, despite many saying he was too small for first-team football as a teenager. Throughout the career of Mahrez, he continuously defied the odds, making it as a professional from playing in the 4th division of France, going from France to 2nd division player to Premier League champion, and not just a Premier League champion, the African player with the most Premier League titles of all time, even winning Algeria their 2nd AFCON in the history, and he was the captain. Wherever you look, Mahrez has his name written time and time again in the history of African football. Now, I'm not saying you have to put him number 1. Everyone has their preferences, but when you take into account where he started out from and the career he achieved, Mahrez has significantly surpassed any expectations people set out for him at the start. Even if you put the stats, rankings, and numbers to the side, Mahrez was one of the players that dazzled and amazed on many occasions, having big-time performances throughout his career. Rank him wherever you want among the African greats. However, Riyad Mahrez is definitely one of the best of them to have played the game, and that's undeniable.